سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Allahu Akbar!
Ding dong. Hello?
Yes, that's right, infidels. You found us here, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, where you get the most real talk, the best reviews of all your favorite wrestling shows from AEW and WWE, Impact, and more, because we're going to break it all down with the best staff in professional wrestling at HMG. So you don't need to go anywhere else, because there's no 5 stars here. There's only $5 face slaps, infidel.
Allahu Akbar!
So sign up today, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, and join the Hameen Army for the most real talk in professional wrestling. YOLO!
Warning. The following video clip contains strong language and has therefore been rated 18+ by the YouTube NECCA. Viewer discretion is advised.
The PWC Network. What the world is watching and listening to.
Hello everyone and welcome to the PWC HMG Revolution post-game show. I am your host Jimmy T and my co-hosts, they're back, they're always here. It is Mr. Chris Ambs, Mr. AMBS, and that's Ambs with no L, and bullshit first thing in the morning. It is Chris Ambs. Welcome to the Revolution post-game show, my friend, and what's going on?
Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you. Yes, it's Mr. Christopher Ambs. That's AMBS, like lambs with no L. Bullshit first thing in the morning. I'll keep saying it if you don't remember or if you forget at any point. Yeah, as Wheeler Yuta would say, fuck this shit.
Fuck this shit indeed, Chris. Well, next is the evil man himself. He is Evil Dose, he is the foreign object, he's even a doctor. Heck, he's even a lawyer. It is Dr. Jeff Lippman. Welcome to the Revolution post-game show, man.
What?
What?
I don't care.
Really? It's like that? What?
It has been a long weekend. This is what my 10th podcast of the weekend, like going back to Friday. Holy moly. Listen, this show was mercifully only 9 matches long, including the pre-show. But still, too long. I don't remember Sunday pay-per-views. I don't know how we used to do this all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how we did it either, man. But Frank Tesh, is that how you pronounce it, Chris? Says hi, Chris.
Hey, Frank.
Do you know him personally, or is just a listener?
No, he's just a listener. He's
Oh.
he's usually got some pretty cool comments and stuff on the HMG Facebook page and stuff like that.
Oh,
he's
cool.
pretty active over there. So, what's up, Frank?
What up, Frank? Thank you for listening.
Frank, where's the
and
high
watching.
dose? Where's the high tea?
Well,
You
I've
guys
got a
aren't
high
as cool
tea.
as me. Don't worry about it.
I've got a high tea on me. It's Tony Coca. Just saying, yeah. Anyway, fellas, let's talk AEW Revolution. As Jeff alluded to, it was pretty long. And to be honest, I felt this show was so predictable, even though we got one wrong, guys.
Yep.
Anybody?
Yeah, I went 8 out of 9. I shouldn't go 8 out of 9.
That makes 2 of us. Chris, I don't know what your predictions were, but did you get everything right?
Close enough. I mean, there wasn't a lot of predictions that I was really too worried about on this one because it kind of seemed like everything was going in the direction that it eventually went in. I mean, I was surprised like you guys were in the trios match, but other than that, is basically went how you'd expect it to.
You know
Yeah,
what
that
I
was
was surprised
shocking.
by? That there
What's
weren't
that?
other matches added, that there weren't other pre-show. Like, I thought that they'd throw in the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Dark Order, that they'd have Jade Cargill come out and do an open challenge, or, you know, something. I'm glad that they didn't, because, again, 9 matches. I can't imagine another 12 to 14 match card might have killed me. This came pretty good. And not because the show was bad. We'll get into that as we go. I mean, I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it was very good.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. But it's a show that makes you think, scratch your head. It's basically a show that makes you think things that make you go, if you know what I mean. Or is it, I shouldn't do that because, people are pretty sensitive these days. I'm just joking.
This is
I'm just
HMG.
joking.
This is
Yeah,
kind of
fuck them.
attitude.
Fuck them if they can't take a joke.
Channelattitude.com.
As Judah would say.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it. First off, do we talk about the pre-show match, which was essentially Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers defeating Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes? Not much to really report on other than just your typical 6-men type of matchup, right, Chris?
Shitty 6-man to open the night. Yeah, pretty much what you expected. Right now, Mark Briscoe isn't going to be taking a whole lot of losses on TV, and I'm happy about that. I love Mark Briscoe. I hope they actually push him here in this company because, yeah, I mean, I'm one of these guys who's like, I loved the Briscoes. I have never cared much about ROH. I'm not one of these guys who's a hardcore Ring of Honor fan and just thinks Dalton Castle is fucking brilliant or anything like that.
He used to be alright. I was a fan of his at one stage, believe it or not.
See, I'm not that guy. But the Briscoes, I have always fucking loved those guys. I've always thought that those guys were brilliant, and it's just sad to me that this is the version of Mark Briscoe that we're going to get on a major television program. I really wish that they would have given them a shot as a tag team, because I mean, you could have run a whole year of them versus FTR in a program, and I would have been enthralled.
I agree. Jeff, what do you think of the first matchup on the pre-show?
I mean, there was like zero psychology in it. The only thing I really watched this match mostly for, because the result was a foregone conclusion. I mean, one, Penta has got to dial back on the Cero Miedo. It's too much. It's at the point of being beyond stupid. Like, you're a stupid wrestler doing it that much. Phoenix botched a Hurricane Rana in the corner really bad, and it looks like he might have come down awkwardly. I mean, I hope not, but with Phoenix, every misstep, you're afraid he's going to be out for 6 months. But the main thing that I was starting with is that I watched this match mostly to see if there would be rules enforced in a trios match. And in fact, this match looked like it had more semblance of regular tag team rules. I wanted to see if that would apply to the trios titles match, which of course it didn't. But anyway, this is a feel-good match for the beginning. It was a little bit too long, but it was the only pre-show match, so I guess it wasn't, in fact, a little too long. I actually, would have rather had a second match on there somewhere and not all the talky talk. But okay, it is what it is.
Talky talk. Yeah. The good old talky talk. It is what it is.
Look,
for me, it was a nothing match. I mean, we had Tony Nese. I don't even know why he's there, to be fair. Penta and Phoenix at this point feel like jobbers. I mean, have they lost their spark or what, guys? I mean, there's nothing to them anymore. And as far as Pac goes, for a guy that gets paid apparently around about $1.5 million, according to the dirt sheets, I mean, shit, they're not getting their money's worth, that's for sure. I mean, where is Pac? Does any of you guys know if he's been wrestling on the independents or anything like that? Anyone?
Not a clue. Jeff and I are the wrong people to ask who's wrestling on the independents in Europe.
Jeff knows quite a bit.
Sometimes I see things, but no, I haven't seen anything about him. There is an AEW media scrum, so I'm going to put it on, but I'm going to turn the volume way down.
Yeah, I know. I'll be honest. I kind of wouldn't have mind watching that because I want to know what his bullshit's going to be. He's probably going to tell us that it was a sellout, but clearly it wasn't. I mean, they were very subjective with their camera angles. They never gave you a full pan. But
well, good, because they should hide it. I mean, I agree with that aspect. Listen, I thought that the crowd, they didn't even try to sell tickets for the upper tier. They didn't sell out the middle tier, probably, but they sold about 8,200 tickets at last count, and they had about 1,800 or 1,900 open seats. I don't know if they got walk-ins or no-shows or whatever, but listen, for a pay-per-view, it's not particularly impressive, but for AEW, it's pretty typical. It was okay. I mean, the crowd was okay, and for whatever reason, the crowds always seem livelier for the AEW shows than the WWE shows. I don't know if it's because it's mostly people between 18 and 38, where WWE is mostly families. I don't know if it's because of the piped-in noise. I don't know what it is, but
no way, Jeff. No way. Not compared to Montreal this past month.
Well, that was an aberration. That's why you remember it, because Montreal was such an impressive crowd.
Right, but even the Rumble, I feel like the WWE pay-per-views, the fans have been pretty lively.
I don't know. They pick their spots.
That's fair enough. I mean, well, it depends on the city they're in too, also, and what event it is. But
Evansville, Indiana, not so much. Montreal, Quebec, Canada, you're gonna get some noise.
I'm gonna say it now. Montreal is one of my favorite places to watch wrestling. Not that I've been there, but I'm saying just watching on TV. I mean, that fan base is just fucking brilliant.
Montreal is one of the best places to watch any live sporting event. Anything that you can think of, Montreal is fantastic. Think back to when the UFC did their pay-per-view there with George St. Pierre regaining the championship against Matt Serra. I mean, the roof basically came off of that place. If you're a fan of hockey at all, the Montreal Canadiens are basically the local equivalent to, I don't know, Judaism in the East Coast, or they're basically the state religion in Montreal. So I mean, Montreal's a great place to watch any live sports. So
it'd be awesome watching the Canadiens at the Bell Center. That'd be pretty brilliant. But guess what, guys?
Ole, ole, ole.
You two have to get back on the topic.
Speaking of Ole, and speaking of getting off topic, we're gonna have a little guest actually on our hands, guys.
Oh God.
Because it's all about this motherfucker right here. It is the Ocho Ocho Homeboy 88. It's all about you, bro.
I just want to chill in the cut. You know, you called me. I was thinking you wanted me on the show. Hey, I like the fucking card. I like Jungle Boy. I mean, he defeated Christian Cage. MJF is my favorite. He defeated Danielson in the Iron Man match. I know what the fuck's going on.
This is great. Show's over, everyone.
Oh,
did I fuck it up?
No, it's good.
You're good.
It's
You're
fine.
good, bro. You're
I'm
good.
ready to
You're
go.
actually
I'm
very
ready to
good.
take a nap.
You're
Jeff's
well
actually
behaved, as a
ready
matter
to
of
go
fact.
home.
Come on. I mean, you know, people are watching that shit. They're not waiting for your show to hear the results. They're actually going to watch the event, right?
Not always.
I mean, if they're smart, they would wait for our show.
Unless they're blind and then they want to hear the audio version, right? Then that makes
That's
sense.
right. It's like
John-
actually picturing you
John-
driving buying a lowrider.
And John
Chicago-
Jones defeated Surreal Gun in one
Oh,
fucking
such a
round.
big fucking win. I mean, look who they put him against, bro. Come on.
No, that was supposed
That
to be
was
a good
designed
fight.
for him to get his belt back, man.
If I was Surreal Gun, I would bury my head in the sand like a fucking ostrich. That was embarrassing, bro.
That was embarrassing. And he looked like a fat fuck just quietly. Nah.
John Jones, he looked like
He
was
did. He
fighting,
put
bro.
on a lot of weight, but he's still a killer, man.
Revolution. It's
I thought this is a
12:30
UFC
my
fucking
time.
review show. Yeah,
up,
sorry,
Jeff?
homeboy. We do
Okay.
unfortunately have to talk about AEW, bro. So if you want to, stay with us and talk wrestling, you can.
Yeah,
As
for sure.
Oh well, here we are. We got homeboy.
By the
He's
way,
got
Alexa
that partiki.
Grasso winning was way more impressive, like beforehand. That was way cooler.
You almost broke
And
her
she's
jaw.
from Mexico. And she's from Mexico. What the fuck
That's
is going on with
three
you, homeboy?
Mexico champions from Mexico. We've had other champions that are Mexican.
All right.
Three
You all
right-
have two choices. You can talk
Don't
about
blame
whatever
me,
the fuck
Jeff.
you want and I leave, or you can talk about the show and I stay.
Oh, look at this guy complaining
Listen,
about
I don't
four
care
people.
Which it is. I really don't. I'm agnostic on it. I'm just telling you, one way I'm leaving, one way I'm staying. You know.
Oh, look, apparently Frank says in the chat, get on the scrum. Now I feel like we're missing something here, but
It just started. Like Tony
Yeah,
Khan
okay,
just
all
came down there in a David Byrne oversized tan suit.
well, anyway, let's get into. Hey, can you hear? Have you got closed captions on, Jeff?
No, I don't have closed captions on.
You probably should, because I want to know what excuses he has for this event. But anyway,
He's not. He's just MJF is walking down on a crutch, yelling at the crowd. Rhino's
okay. All right, fair enough. Well, anyway, we go into the actual show proper. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, what am I talking about? That's still the pre-match. But the first match, it is Chris Jericho versus Absolute Ricky Starks. You know what? From what I saw, because at the time my feed was sort of playing up, but Ricky Starks and Jericho seemed like a decent matchup. Nevertheless, this was an obvious win for Ricky Starks via pinfall with the Rochambeau. Chris, I think you didn't really catch this match, but if you did, what'd you think?
Well, I thought that Ricky Starks had one of his best matches in AEW. I think that a lot of guys have good matches against Chris Jericho on pay-per-views. I think that Jericho is sort of slowly becoming a master of saving himself for when it matters, and I think that he did that here with this. This started sort of a tale of the night here, where yet another. We'll get into it as we go on, but it's like every single time there was a former WWE superstar, they lost to the AEW original.
Well, not everybody, actually, Chris.
There was a
Basically,
bunch of upsets on this pay-per-view. Just saying.
Upset? Not
I
really. I
don't
would
think
any
there-
upset.
I think there was only one upset. But,
one upset. We did get this card pretty much 99% right.
This was, again, we talked about this earlier in the week on some of our shows. I talked about Hammerlock Hangover. We talked about it on Cage. We talked about it on Smack Attack. That I don't know if they did it on purpose or by accident, just turned this way. But this was the opportunity for them to have a reset and commit to their pillars as opposed to all of the imports, the mercenaries, and the hired guns. And they did it. For the most part, they did it one way or another. And almost all of the right people won. And actually, the one I got wrong, I'm happy they won. I'm just confused by it, but I'm happy. And I should get things wrong, but as far as this match is concerned, this match was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't. This could have been a match on Dynamite. It didn't feel like a giant blow off to a major grudge feud match. It didn't feel like the end of a blood feud. It was okay. It could have been on Dynamite. Nothing wrong with it, but nothing exciting about it either. But Ricky Starks won. He should have won. The JS was banned from ringside. Yeah, Sammy Guevara still ran down, but Action Andretti came out and speared him. Unlike Sami Zayn, totally, because he was in a gray hoodie, not a black hoodie. So completely different thing altogether. But, like, did you notice that it was originally a no DQ match? Then they banned the JS, and then somebody must have told me that, how do you ban someone when it's a no DQ match? So they took out the no DQ. They stopped mentioning.
I know, it's fucking stupid, man. The logic of this company, and especially TK, is just silly. But Mr. Ocho Ocho, which is not how you say 88 in Spanish, just quietly, homeboy.
It's 88, but okay.
Yeah, so right, 88.
Maybe he doesn't want to be 88. Maybe he wants to be Ocho Ocho. You think he doesn't know his own language?
Well, then, is it homeboy 88 or is it
it's not a
homeboy
Chad
88?
Johnson moment where he actually did the wrong thing.
Can we not go 5 minutes into the name, Jimmy? Come on, Jeff's right.
Oh, whatever, homeboy, whatever, man. Mr. Ocho Ocho. But anyway,
I agree. That's right.
Are you angry, Jeff?
Always.
Oh, he's angry. He's angry that you're here.
That's the secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
We had such a good interview, man. What's going on?
I'm not angry about you. I'm angry that it's 12:30 at night, and I've been. This is like my 23rd podcast of the weekend.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, we have done a lot of shows, all of us, one way or the other. But anyway, I know you didn't watch
50-50 calling out sick tomorrow at work. Like, luckily nobody there listens or watches anything.
Was it Ring of Honor that did that to you? Be honest.
Oh my God, yeah, right.
I will just add this: Ricky Starks is an up-and-coming star. I mean, I don't know if he could fit well in the WWE, but in AEW, all right, he's doing good. Beats Chris Jericho. He's putting him over. He's putting over the new guys, right? I liked him in the NWA. So, I mean, what do you think? Are they going to push him? Is he going to get a title? What the fuck?
Nah.
Well, he already lost a title shot. They blew that load early in the year. Listen, I'm going to say this one thing. Yes, when usually you have a feud with the Jericho and his little group, it's usually like 9 months to a year and a half. So this seems to be 3 months. Hopefully it's over. I'm not sure because they're going to figure out, oh shit, we can't put him in the title picture again because we just took him out of it. So like if they segue him into like Guevara, I mean, so and Danny Garcia again. I mean that's okay, but like. That's what sometimes they do when they don't have other ideas. They just go lazy and they just run things back that don't need to be run back. Like he should.
What about Hobbs wins the TNT championship and then Hobbs and Starks get back to their feud since they used to be a tag team?
Why though? But what? See, they fucked that up too. But they probably will go that way.
I'm all for it. It's just it would kill Wardlow, which I'm sort of okay with at this point. But the other thing is that they just said that Jungle Boy is committed to getting a singles title. Well, he ain't going against Orange Cassidy, and he's not going for the FTW belt. So, I mean, you'd think if Hobbs gets the title as a heel, Jungle Boy would be that's the only title he can target, unless you're putting Jungle Boy into the world picture. I don't think they're that brave. I don't blame them.
If they are that brave, I don't know, man. I'm going to struggle. Imagine Jungle Boy Jack Perry being your world AEW champion.
Sadly, I
think about that. I can too, which is sad.
Yeah,
Chris, can you imagine it?
I mean, listen, he's one of the guys that TK, pegged early on.
Pegged, literally pegged, right, like this.
Maybe pegged early on. But he's one of the 4 guys who TK referred to as the pillars, right? So, I mean,
as the pig, one of the 4 pigs of AEW.
That's right. He pegged. Pegged him.
That's the call of the night, dude.
He pegged him from day one.
The fucking pegging. Fucking hell, man.
Did we ever take a break from the pegging, or is it still going on?
I'm sure it's still going on, 100%. True, homeboy.
Who's still getting pushed and who's not? Then we'll know if the pegging.
Who's getting pushed, indeed. Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. There's the first penis reference for the evening right here at PWC Network. Even if it wasn't.
Homeboy? Are you proud of what you've done?
Yeah, he wasn't even listening, dude.
I know.
He wasn't even listening. Were you getting pegged, homeboy? Is that what was happening?
No, I was listening, but
why are you
this is not my
confused?
style. I'm rated PG-13 on my show. I don't know what the fuck.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
He's listening to Lowrider right now.
I was going to put Lowrider. That's why I was delaying it. I was looking for Lowrider, but then I said, fuck it. I'll put All About You.
I'm being quiet because I'm being respectful. I mean, you guys are the pros.
If I'm asking you a question, bro, you're supposed to respond.
What's your question?
Oh, for fuck's sake, forget it. Let's just move on. Just pay attention in the next match, all right?
Okay, all right.
Anyway, it's next we get Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy, as we were mentioning, in a final burial match. And Jeff, I just want to point out, I thought it was called a hole in the match, a hole in the ground match. I'm actually,
it was like a hole in the ground match. They wisely changed it, and I guess they decided they're going to have a coffin and bravely call it a casket instead of just a dirt with a, or maybe they figured that dirt, if it's real dirt, it falls back in and it doesn't stay human sized. I don't know. This match, for a gimmick match, this also felt very anticlimactic, and like you knew at
especially
the
the ending.
Yeah, I mean, this almost felt like not that it was funny, but it was like a sitcom of wrestling. You knew exactly what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and again, it was fine. It just didn't feel like, this thing's been going on for a year and a half, and so I feel sort of euthanized about it. I'm like relieved it's done and over with. Thank goodness no Luchasaurus came out with a new, completely original art mask that doesn't subject them to copyright infringement lawsuits, because there's no way you can have another match. So, it was fine. I just didn't feel like I was watching a pay-per-view. I felt like I was watching maybe Battle of the Belts or a main event on a Dynamite. That's all.
I still think they've missed the boat by not calling Luchasaurus Junglesaurus. I mean, right? Think about it. Makes sense. How about you just calling that TK, you fucking marktard? Chris, did you think this match was awkward?
I mean, it wasn't awkward. It was a fine match, but it's gotten to the point where, and I mean, I've been saying this now for months, that like, I don't care about this shit anymore. It's been dragging on forever, and it hasn't fucking. There's been 0 steps forward. It's just been, and then, and it's like,
that movie? Just stick your foot right up your ass.
Of course, I remember that movie, Jimmy. Who doesn't remember? Dude, where's my car? Anyway,
and then,
it just went on and on and on. I'm glad that it's finished. Somebody did ask an interesting question about, do we know when Christian's contract is up? Because this would be a good way for him to go off of TV and maybe go back and help Edge win at WrestleMania this year. Might be nice for him. So,
yeah, I think me and Jeff were talking about that actually.
Yeah,
I can see that happening.
Drew Yari
pissing me off.
Drew Yari said, according to a particular dirt sheet, which really means nothing because AEW is not public, but he said that it was a 3-year contract, meaning he's got another year. Well, first he said he signed a multi-year contract in 2021. I'm like, multi-year simply means more than one, so it's been 2 years. And then he said, according to so-and-so, it was a 3-year contract. But, who knows? But you're right. This seems like a perfectly good way to write somebody off of TV for good. And they really don't need him anymore. They don't really need him for anything. He hasn't added much. If anything, he's just another guy with the last name Cage or Page.
That's true.
Listen, I know he's 49 fucking years old, but he's 6'1", losing to a 5'10" jungle man, jungle boy.
5'10". You're pushing it, homeboy. He's probably 5'5".
All right,
Seriously.
What the fuck is going on here? And then Chris saying this doesn't even look like a pay-per-view. Man, when I was watching the pay-per-views back in the day, they were pay-per-views. What's going on here?
And I was happy to shell out $30 every month. I used to buy every single pay-per-view, and I didn't even regret it. You know what I mean? And now there's no fucking chance I would have paid for this shit. Especially how predictable the show was. And like I said, I don't want to say it was a bad show. It wasn't. It just was very, very predictable in every sense.
I'll say it was a bad show.
Okay, fair enough. If you want to put it in that sense, it was a bad show for purely just the predictability.
For
the match
$60, this was a bad show. For just watching it, I would give it a 5.5 for a. Yeah, probably like a 5.5.
We'll talk about that at the end.
I can't stretch to a 6.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
$5.50.
$5.50.
That'd be a great price.
Yeah.
Well, Jungle Boy Jack Perry wins by closing the casket with Christian Cage inside it. And I just want to point out before we move on, did he have like an epiphany? Was he looking at his dad while closing the casket? I know the commentators were alluding, he used to look up to Christian. He was a mentor and blah blah blah. But like,
yeah, it was a I love you, I'm sorry, but I must kill you.
Rightio. And the explosion to end it was pretty cheesy. Just quietly, guys.
Yeah, it was fine.
Whatever. Anyway, next though, now, look, man, I felt like in a way this match had the most action. Obviously, it is a trios match, but it is a House of Black in Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and the Malaka himself, Malachi Black, versus the Elite in Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson for your AEW World Trios Championship. Now, this shocked me. And yes, it was your same old spot after spot after spot after spot match. Super kick, 450, 1080s, fucking 4Ks, whatever, man. But 5G. The point is, 5G, 5Gs and 4Gs, whatever. The point is, he had it all. It was a mess. It was a spot fest. But it was an action-packed match. And to everyone's surprise, I mean, I can vouch for everyone right now that's doing the show. The House of fucking Black win by pinfall via lateral press from Malachi Black onto Matt Jackson to become your new AEW World Trios Champions. Chris, was this shocking or what, man?
I was definitely shocked by the finish. I thought, okay, well, that was a really nice finisher there by the House of Black. It would be nice actually if it was a finish, but you heard me. We were watching it together, and I said, "Oh, here comes a kick out." No kick out. 1, 2, 3.
We all said it. We all fucking said it. We were all waiting for that, and it didn't fucking happen. It was shocking.
I like at least 4 of the talents in this match. I think that everybody involved in the House of Black has pretty good matches. I think that Kenny Omega, for all the shit that I give him, actually has some pretty good wrestling matches. The Young Bucks infuriate me, and I fucking hate watching them because every single time I watch them, I'm going to piss off homeboy here. Watching Young Bucks matches is like watching Ric Flair matches in 1998. It's the same fucking spots every goddamn time. I've seen it already. Do something else.
I see homeboy putting his face in his hands. He's got a point though, bro. Think about 98. All right. Flip over the top rope. When he does that fucking flip over the ropes thing. Get on his knees saying, no. Do the poker to the eye. The fucking running knee to the floor. The spot where he just knocks himself out, when he just drops. I mean, he's got a point. It was the same routine over and over.
When he goes to the top rope and it never works out.
Right, exactly. He gets tossed off, literally. He never jumps off it.
He's works
sometimes.
Never landed
the elbow 1 out of 7 times.
Come on, Chris is right. He's right about it.
1984, it might have worked a couple of times. By 1998,
he was the dirtiest player in the game, bro. Sometimes you give it a fucking under the.
He was the most repetitive player in the fucking game, is what he was.
Remember that when he would do that? He would give the nut cutter,
And listen, when you go to follow the Grateful Dead, they play the same set every night.
Yeah, well, that's true too. I mean, fuck. I mean, at the end of the day, legends are allowed to get away with that shit. Let's be honest, guys.
Are you comparing Nature Boy Ric Flair to what tag team did you say?
The Young
Bucks.
The Young Bucks. Bro, the Young Bucks are never going to have a fucking dog chew toy like Ric Flair. Okay?
Do they have a helicopter like fucking Ric Flair? And the baby arm? Just saying. Anyway, Jeff, what do you think of this matchup?
I'm a lot more forgiving about this than Chris. First of all, I was absolutely shocked. Absolutely shocked. And especially because the House of Black won more or less clean. There was no mist. There really wasn't much cheating. The rules didn't apply to either team. Brandon Cutler really didn't play a role, thank goodness.
Didn't do nothing.
I mean, Julia Hart got knocked off, but that really didn't factor into the match. It's not why Kenny lost. I mean, it's not why, because Kenny was the one who did it, and he's not the one who got pinned. Buddy seems like he's had one foot out the door. Maybe he's changed his mind. Maybe he realized unfinished business and Impact isn't really business if you only get paid $16 an hour. I didn't, listen. I know what he's saying about Young Buck matches. Yes, they are all the same. But a lot of wrestlers' matches are all the same. Sting's matches were all the same. Hulk Hogan's matches were all the same. I mean, that's not really a crime.
But Hogan's psychology game was off the walls, though. Just quietly, Chris.
Yeah, and the Young Bucks, it's not that it's all the same. It's a video game. Like nothing hurts anybody, and I get it. But like, I like to nitpick, but I don't like to purposely hate watch. If I couldn't cover wrestling if I felt that strong. Listen, I enjoyed the match. It was fine. I knew what I was getting. It's like a pinball machine. I was very pleased to be surprised. I like Malachi Black. I like Brody King. Buddy Matthews looks like a He-Man doll. So, of course, I like him. So, I'm glad they won. I'm afraid it's going to be hot potato, as someone said. And they're just going to be sacrificial lambs to Mark Briscoe's next win with the Lucha Brothers or whatever, as part of the Tony Khan's, make everything right by giving Mark Briscoe title sympathy tour, because he's going to have to strip him of the Ring of Honor tag team titles because he doesn't have a tag team partner. Anyway, listen, I like the match. This at least felt like a pay-per-view match, for an AEW pay-per-view, and it was the first match that actually felt like a pay-per-view match for me for the night. So,
no, if the finish was different, would you have felt that way?
It was a decent
it's hard
match
to say because the finish was what it was. I mean, I guess it depends what the finish was, but I definitely was pleased with the finish, so it's hard to say.
Well, look, if
he had Kenny with the black mass and got a 1, 2, 3, I probably would have liked it more.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. I'm kind of in agreement with Jeff here. I didn't feel like, and I was saying this to you guys while we're watching it, I actually didn't mind the match if you put all the bullshit aside and just watch it. And like Jeff said, if I was looking at it like that all the time, how the fuck am I even going to do a show? Because we can just pick on it and hate on it. But for what it was, and yes, it was a spot fest, like Jeff said, it did feel like a pay-per-view matchup, to be fair. It had the twists and turns and the shock. I mean, we got the swerve. Tony, for once, has swerved us. And that's hard to do, man, because he's that predictable in his way of booking.
Well,
Chris?
I'll be the model of fucking consistency here and say that this sucked dick. This was fucking awful. I hated this fucking match. I hate everything about these goddamn matches with these two fucking idiots. They don't know how to work. They don't know how to wrestle. Everything is fucking nonsense. Oh, the rules don't apply to any other fucking matches. Doesn't matter how many people are in the ring at one time. It doesn't matter how many things are being used or who's getting kicked in the face by who or what. Or here's 700 fucking super kicks. No, I don't like it. It's fucking. It is video game wrestling, and you know what?
It is.
I don't fucking like it.
Fair enough. I mean, just saying though, like, you know what I mean. But no, that's cool. Homeboy, do you have anything to say about this match?
I always hated 6-man tags, bro. It's a clusterfuck.
It is a clusterfuck, but if it's done properly, it can work. It's like having four of us
What's your favorite
on a show.
6-man tag of all time? Come on. We have it.
I mean, the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs did pretty well for a while.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The Russian versus the Road Warriors and Dusty, that worked out okay. I mean,
but were they flip flopping around like Cirque du Soleil?
No, they were doing Road Warriors and Russians thing, and I mean the Von Erichs did a little bit, but I mean nothing like this. But it was more about stories and psychology, and
the psychology,
and
exactly.
And, yeah, I mean, it was closer to Moxley and Hangman, but less clumsy. But I mean, listen, I don't mind 6-man matches. I do mind where there's no even effort to pretend that there's rules, and again, that's why I contrasted the pre-show 6-man match with this 6-man match. And I don't know if it was a different referee or not, and that really shouldn't matter. But listen, nobody was surprised that there's no rules, that there's no tags, and none of that matters in the Young Bucks match. And I understand every single thing Chris said, and credit him for being consistent. I'm just saying, I enjoyed the match. I couldn't watch 3 matches ago. Yeah, it's fine. Yay, Mark won, but he won over a bunch of nobodies. And then the first two matches, okay, the right guy won, but could have been on Dynamite, So this at least felt like a spectacle. That's it. It woke me up.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I will say that the finish woke me up too. I mean, the fact that House of Black won, it was like, whoa, okay, that's great,
I mean,
wonderful, good, yeah.
Hey, right?
Yeah.
Who made a mistake?
Yeah,
we were literally all sitting there, like waiting. We all said it. We were all like, 1, 2, where's the kick out, right? We're waiting for it.
Because they had the giant botch at the end where they get the titles and like the lights go out for no particular reason, and then like
I forgot about that.
There's a spotlight on the ramp, and it's like everyone's expecting something and nothing happens. It was just like some technical production glitch. So there at least was that botch to criticize.
Guys, before we move on to the next match, I just want to ask you guys this. And I'll ask you first, Chris.
No, I won't have sex with you.
Oh, fuck the question. No. But anyway, Chris, do you think Kenny Omega, is this a sign that Kenny is pretty much on the way out?
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people who are going to read that into this. I think that it very much depends on what Kenny Omega does next. After the match, they did, I think purposely, show him being looked at by, backstage personnel, etc.
Right.
He was getting a lot of attention of, does it look like Kenny might be injured kind of thing? So I guess we'll see if he is, and if he goes to WWE, that'll just be one more reason for me to take my hiatus from watching WWE again after WrestleMania. We'll see.
We'll see. It's true. It's interesting. Jeff, do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, there's a long time between now and then, but we noted that when he was coming down, he was sort of wearing a kimono, which was sort of reminiscent of the Golden Lovers. So, listen, if WWE really wants to get Kenny Omega, they have to hire Kota Ibushi, or they really should try to. If AEW hopes to keep him, they need to hire Kota Ibushi as well. So, because Kenny needs his boyfriend. I mean, he already has his little schoolgirl girlfriends there, so he needs his little fifth Beatle boyfriend there too.
So the Bucks just aren't cutting it for Kenny, Jeff?
Yesterday's news.
Ooh. I think he's on the way out.
The Bucks are good Christian boys. They're not.
They are. They're Christian as fuck, bro.
They're not puffy at all. Don't insinuate that.
I'm gonna leave guys. I'll leave you guys with this. The Young Bucks look like fat Hardy Boys, and Kenny Omega. You did good in Japan. You did good here. Go to the WWE and see what happens, brothers. Anyways, check out my fucking show, Homeboy 88 Podcast, with Dr. Jeff Lippman. And it's getting really good downloads and really good reviews.
And Lily, too. Did Lily make an appearance, homeboy?
She's always there in the evil spirit.
I did listen to the show. It was a good show, as a matter of fact. And go check out the Homeboy 88 Podcast, wherever you download good.
Don't be a loser.
Podcast. Absolutely. Actually, speaking of that, Homeboy, before you go, I want to ask you something.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever wanted your own podcast?
Yes, I have.
Well, you can, because if you go to podbean.com/the PWC Network, did you know you get a free month, man?
No, I didn't. How do you do that?
Just go to podbean.com/the PWC Network and you will get a free month on us. So once again, podbean.com/PWC Network. There you go.
Do that, people.
Go do that shit ASAP. Well, homeboy, thank you for joining us as per usual, man. You know you've got an open door with us, bro. And yeah, man, take it easy and we'll speak soon.
Okay. Peace out, guys.
Peace out, brother. Oh, we're back. And it's just the three of us. And that was Homeboy 88, ladies and gentlemen. And go check out his latest show with our very own Dr. Jeff Lippman, who's the special guest. He's doing the Heather Locklear. Remember that? Special guest starring Jeff.
Guest star.
And in every fucking episode for like years. Anyway.
Never leaving that show.
Never. Well, see what you've done there? Because you're going to be back apparently very soon.
He's going to have to kill me off.
He's going to have to kill you off. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, as I was saying about Kenny, I think he's on the way out. I just think, but you're right about Kota Ibushi. And I will say this about Kota, Jeff. He did come out and pretty much say to WWE, come and sign me.
Okay. Lots of people say lots of things when they're trying to get into a bidding war. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's a good job for him because if he is what he thinks he is, he can be a trainer. He can get a nice retirement nest egg. That's not guaranteed in AEW. It's not guaranteed anywhere. But listen, if you are getting longer in the tooth and you think you're one of the best in the world and you want to prove it and get famous, then you're going to go to WWE. If you want to just be loved by the same fans who probably already love you, then you're going to go to AEW and you're going to get lost in a giant cluster of tons and tons of people who all are on the top of the card. WWE has tons and tons of people, but most of them are not. Most of them are in the bottom 70% of the card, and probably always will be.
True. Also, Frank says in the chat, but can we all agree the House of Black are placeholders for a short time? Probably. Yeah, more than likely, I would say that.
If you asked me 4 hours ago, I told you they were sure to lose. So I can't agree on anything right now. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, it depends who they're going to hotshot it to, though. That's another thing.
I mean, these titles have been hot-shotted too much already.
They have.
They already have like so little credibility, and it doesn't help that Ring of Honor has 6-man tag team titles.
That's so dumb.
It is dumb.
There's no point of that. Just get rid of them. We don't need everybody having a belt, for Christ's sake. I know TK loves titles, but god damn it, man. Just relax.
Hashtag no more belts.
Or at least separate the two goddamn brands.
Yeah, well, after watching Ring of Honor, you wouldn't know. How? What do you mean? By separating the brands? How do you do it?
After watching Ring of Honor, how the fuck do you separate that from AEW?
Right, you can't. You can after watching Ring of Honor. You cannot because it was you see all the almost all those people in AEW and the ones
even Lexi Nair.
Have.
Yeah. Is that Lexi Nair, her name? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was even the friggin' the interview chick in the back.
Right. And we've seen, I mean, even Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccaboni, we've seen tons on AEW. Sure, they're calling Ring of Honor, Matt. But yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, there were like a handful of people that we hadn't seen on AEW television that was on that show. And out of that handful, 80% of them are former Ring of Honor people, which, by the way, it was a very Ring of Honor show, but this is not a Ring of Honor review show. Regrettably, we're doing one of those as well.
Oh yes.
So let's stick to this painful card as opposed to a painful YouTube or a different form of pay-per-view torture.
And it's literally pay-per-view. Well, anyway, let's move on, guys. And I'm going to say this. This could have possibly been the match of the night if it wasn't for the finish. And I'm talking about Jamie Hayter versus Ruby Soho versus Saraya for your AEW Women's World Championship. Jamie Hayter is your champion. And Jamie Hayter walks out as your champion by pinfall with a crucifix pin on Ruby Soho, retaining the AEW Women's World Championship. But post-match is where it gets interesting because Toni Storm attacks Hayter and puts boots to her as Saraya joins her pal. Britt Baker runs in though. Soho is down and out and in the corner trying to figure out how she wants to play it, and she dumps Saraya and Toni to the floor. She tells them they don't run this place and this is their home. Jeez. And Hayter raises Ruby's hand, but no future Britt. Apparently, it feels like there's no future for Britt. Takes Destination Unknown. Ruby stands tall and Storm is furious, knocks the camera operator out and smashes the camera on the floor. And then Saraya gives Ruby the spray paint and she takes it, spraying L's on Team DMD. And it's the new world order all over again. Chris. Meow.
Okay. Listen, the story that they really wanted to get to, the angle that they wanted to show, what they actually wanted to, focus and highlight on here was the whole, Ruby Soho is joining up with the evil former WWE people against the AEW originals. They basically redid Hogan turning, from Bash at the Beach. Obviously, they didn't do it as good. And if you were going to go this way, if this is how you were going to finish, the belt changes hands. Otherwise, it looks like the weirdest timing of all time by your heels. Why why turn on everybody and show that you're part of the heel group after the title is already retained? Why would you do that? It makes no logical sense. So it's one of these things with AEW where it's like, okay, I'm interested in Ruby Soho being a heel and being with the outsiders, if you will. I'm interested in that. But this was just booked wrong? Like, wrong? I don't know how else to say it. Wrong.
Jeff, was it booked wrong? Because I felt this match was actually quite good until the finish.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Listen, this is one of the better AEW women's matches I saw, and I was not expecting that. Especially since Sarai has been clumsy and out of shape and sort of out of sync. But the match itself was actually really pretty good. Usually during the match you would see hints of who Ruby's getting annoyed at and whatever, and there was none of that during the match. The only clue was that Jamie Hayter did the crucifix or the crucible win on Ruby. Besides that, it really didn't make any sense. I thought that the actual pin itself came out of nowhere and was done poorly. After that, I don't have a problem with the ending. I understand the point that they didn't have the title, but I guess maybe that's why Ruby just decided to turn heel of frustration. But Tony Khan really needs to buy the rights to Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix. And I was really hoping that the Bella sisters would come out and join them in this new world order.
I told you what I was saying in the chat while we're watching the pay-per-view. It would have been great if she came out with the hoodie on and just goes, "It was me, TK. It was me all along." And then you hear fucking the song, the Bella song.
Well, I told you that it was Nikki Bella who ran over Stone Cold. She did it for The Rock. It wasn't Ricky.
I did it for The Rock.
It's been a cover-up this entire time. But, yeah, I mean, the end, yeah, the actual finish of the match was awkward, but the match itself was good. I didn't mind the end. I don't mind so much they didn't have a title. Because, the frustration, I guess Ruby said if you can't beat them, join the Mean Girls.
The Mean Girls. So it's Hollywood. Ruby Soho, brother.
More like UK Ruby Soho.
Whatever she is. I mean, she looks like even Luna Vachon in a way, but nothing like her personality-wise. But she's trying to go for the look.
No, you know what? You know what the finish to this really screamed to me was, we want to do this cool angle. We think that the angle will be cool. But right now, especially, we can't possibly have a WWE talent go over one of our originals, especially for the championship. I mean, that would make us look weak at a time where we already need to have a special announcement in order to get anybody over 850,000 people to watch our show.
Such a dumb mind frame to have too, though, man.
Biggest story of the night is we didn't get a bunch of announcements.
True also.
They're your talents now. That,
I know, it's irrelevant, right? It's so fucking dumb. But unfortunately, Chris, this has always been a thing in the wacky world of professional wrestling, man.
Yeah, but the NWO was one of the biggest fucking stories in the history of professional wrestling.
But,
a shit ton of not only tickets but merchandise. You think they would have done that if Harlem Heat just went, "Nope, doesn't work for me, brother. We're not going to drop our belts to those former WWE guys."
Tony's doing awkward hugs with Ricky Starks now.
Oh, no. No. Well, you know what?
Just underline my point.
The Harlem Heat used to be called the Ebony Experience, though. That should tell you something.
Yeah, but that was in WCCW.
I know, but still. What a name. That wouldn't fly right now. No way. The Ebony
Black
Experience
is a hashtag, so why not?
That's different, though. But, imagine them calling it the Black Experience instead.
I don't know, man. They called the tag team the Banger Brothers for a minute there.
Banger after banger. It is very cringy indeed, Frank. 100% spot on. So we got the new World Order, or the new Women's Order. Yeah. Can we call this the new Women's Order? Is that what's happening?
Sure.
The NWO is back. Just not in black, in green. Whatever the fuck they are.
Sure. Whatever. Sounds good.
loser. You know how that ad lib would come on in the background.
You think instead of Dennis Rodman, they'll get Brittany Griner?
Oh, that'd be brilliant. That would be brilliant. I'd be down for that, straight up. Anyway, let's move on. But yeah,
right away she'd be complaining that she doesn't make the same amount as the men's world champion.
He's my house now. My house. Well, guys, we get. Look, like I said, I thought it was a good match until the finish, but it is what it is. But next we go fucking cowboy, fellas. It is Hangman, Brokeback Man, Adam Page versus the Bloodman in Jon Moxley in a disturbing kind of fucking match, fellas. Chris, what'd you think?
I mean, it could have been disturbing. It could have been one of those real visceral, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this type matches. Except that every match they've had, including a couple that were on free TV, included a bunch of blood and blades and weapons, etc. Over the last number of weeks here, we've seen, how many weapons matches, including Jon Moxley. I mean, didn't he just beat Rush and some guy named Chance the Rapper or whatever?
Isn't he a poof?
Using multiple chain shots and chair shots, and they went through the table in that match too. It's like they killed everything that they should have been building up to this match on free TV. So yeah, no, I mean, it was disturbing in that there was a lot of blood and there was a lot of weapons, but so fucking what? It's like having blood and weapons in an ECW
This is the best match, Chris. The best match. Psychology and everything. Heck, you even had people, and I'm talking to you, Jon Moxley, who even set themselves up to get hanged. Right, Jeff?
Absolutely.
Wrap the fucking chain around his own neck.
What a fucking idiot. That's what I'm saying. Like, come on.
I say it all the time that if everything is extraordinary, nothing's extraordinary. The extraordinary becomes ordinary, and there's only so much they can do. I agree 100% with Chris. There was nothing wrong with this match. It was brutal. It was tough. There was
We've
tons
seen
of blood.
it though a million times, Jeff.
That's the problem. We've seen it all a million. Not just we've seen it free. We've seen it on prior pay-per-views. There was almost nothing that was new that we haven't seen before. And I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's that the pay-per-view was necessarily booked unspectacularly. I think that it's because they're in such they're so desperate to get viewership and to show that they've got momentum and to show that they're strong. That Tony Khan books every Dynamite almost like it's a mini pay-per-view, if not really a pay-per-view, like the Grand Slam shows in New York. So. Yeah, I mean, this was not Abdullah the Butcher versus Bruiser Brody, but when you saw that, you knew it was going to be a bloodbath, but you didn't see them doing the same thing constantly. So, listen, people are going to call us Match of the Year. I guess if it was viewed alone, it wouldn't, but in the context, it can't be.
Come on,
so
bro. Match of the Year.
I found it a little bit dull, and we were all watching together, and as soon as Hangman, who's supposed to be a hangman, should have put the chain around Moxley's neck and done it.
Right.
Moxley put the chain around himself and made sure to put 2 loops around his neck. And I said he just set himself up to be hung, which ends up being the end of the match. And it happened about 90 seconds later. So it's like, well, that was dumb. And that's sort of how I felt about a bunch of matches. That even it like the I don't want to give anything away, but. The last match, I thought actually I was dreading an Iron Man match, and Jimmy, you called it ahead of time. It's going to go into overtime. I'm like, no, and I didn't even mind the overtime until they did 3 steps too many, and it ended with a whimper. It wasn't quite exploding barbed wire death match whimper, but it was close. It was sort of like the Iron Man equivalent. Anyway, this like I said, was this a pay-per-view worthy match? Yes, but was it already spoiled because we'd seen it a million times? But the Page absolutely needed to win this match, or he needed to find another career. So again, the younger guy or the AEW original guy won over Moxley. Moxley absolutely
tapped out, by the way.
Yeah, Right, he's
Oh,
hacked out. He
surprisingly.
probably was choking. He Moxley absolutely needs at least 3 months off.
Get him off.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, people are gonna try to glamorize everything the AEW does, and
And then we're going to be labeled as haters for fucking going against the narrative, which pisses me off in itself.
Right, but I mean, it's part of the fun of things. I mean, I don't know. Just think of those folks as Cleveland Browns fan. I don't know.
You can just ignore them.
Right.
Was there anything you wanted to say?
No, I mean, I already said what I wanted to say. It's yeah, I mean, again, we had another situation where it's a clean, unquestioned victory for the AEW original over the former WWE champion. It does become a situation, though, where what you're doing is obvious and it looks obvious, and you're going to have a lot of people in the crowd or in the audience go, huh, that's lame.
Pretty lame. Might as well get a new fucking version of The Brood starring John Moxley. I mean, this song is called Blood after all, just quietly. So, I mean, blood and more blood. And can we just say before we move on to the next matchup, is it safe to say Moxley is so overrated and doesn't understand psychology as a professional wrestler? Am I wrong in saying that? Because the more I watch this clown, the more he's becoming a clown. I'm just saying, Jeff.
I mean, he's like a horror movie without the gimmick. I mean, he's every match is a prison fight. I mean, that's
that's
like guys that just burly sort of drunk bar fight kind of things in a podunk bar. Moxley's psychology is never give up, be angry, and fight and bleed a lot. That's not psychology, and we see him bleed. I mean, the joke is that he's bleeding in the way in, so the blood completely loses its effect so much that they have to resort to using forks and spoons to splatter it on each other just to have a different effect. Because I mean, we've already seen people's faces painted with blood. And we got it accidentally twice tonight, as well. And then they did it again with MJF, basically a crimson.
I was going to say, how many matches did we have blood in this show? There was quite a few.
Yeah, at least 4.
At least. And it could have been even more. Sorry, Chris, continue.
No, I was just going to say, to your point, Jimmy, John Moxley, he's a CZW wrestler. That's who he is.
He's below GCW.
Yeah, he is below GCW. He's a CZW wrestler. And I mean, listen, if that's the kind of thing that you like, then you like that kind of thing, and fine, fair enough. But does anybody here? Do either of you remember when CZW sold out that massive arena for 30,000 people, and then sold 1 million pay-per-view buys? Remember that?
Oh yeah, of course not.
Oh, you don't remember that? That's because
CZW.
it's not fucking popular enough to do that. And somebody needs to tell John Moxley, hey, I know you like this shit, but it's just you and 30,000 other people who really like this shit. Nobody else cares.
Well, to be fair, he was known as a backyard garbage wrestler before WWE, to be honest. He was. That's the style that he does. That's the style that he loves. And next thing we know it, we're going to see him, what's that fucking, is it a CZW event? The deathmatch fucking tournament, the WrestleMania, where they have in the bush somewhere, and everyone gets cut up.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, right,
you
guys?
You can't ask me about CZW or GCW or Insane Clown Posse. I mean, GCW, I have some vague idea about what they're doing, but the others, no.
Kind of. Well, the guy that owns GCW, ironically, came from CZW. So there you go.
Same freaking thing.
Yeah, just on a bigger sort of platform, if that makes any sense.
For now.
But for now, right. Hey, the fact that CZW is even still a company shocks me.
Well, but they only, I mean, literally, they're like in the I-95 corridor between Central Jersey and Northern Maryland. I mean, they basically run only 2 or 3 venues.
And in the bush, outside.
Which one of them is the 30,000 seat arena that they sell out?
Outside, dude. The backyard.
What are you talking about? The burning bush? I mean, What bush?
The deathmatch tournament that they have every year, their WrestleMania, they have it literally up in the sticks somewhere, legitly, where Nick Gage got cut to death almost, where he nearly died in one of them, where they literally had to get a chopper. I'm not kidding. This is legitimately true. They had to get a chopper.
Coachella? I mean, what?
Yeah,
Man?
it was the Coachella of CZW. You might as well burn the whole place. No, really, they do that.
You know, and knowing, hey, listen, knowing CZW, there may have been an actual Burning Man.
The Wicker Man now. But they do it in the desert of New Mexico, where Breaking
I don't know
Bad,
where it's done.
episode
I think
2.
it's done upstate New York somewhere. As a matter of fact.
Woodstock.
But no shit. Yeah, it's in Woodstock, even in Oktoberfest, even fuck it. But for real though, I saw a chopper literally land because Nick Gage, the fucking idiot, right? Who fucking, what is it? Murder, kill, fucking whatever bullshit it's called. Literally nearly died, man. He nearly died. They had to airlift him legitly to hospital because the guy was dying.
Okay, it would have been a little bit funny if when they were trying to rescue him, the rotor sliced his head off.
I would have loved that. I can't stand Gage. But anyway, fuck that shit. And yeah, fuck the tournament.
See, Wardlow just shook Tony's hand far enough away that Tony couldn't get in for the hug.
Oh, good on him. But you still suck, Wardlow. You fucking idiot. Anyway, we'll get to that. But anyway,
Hobbs cashed in his giant toilet seat, and Wardlow is now in proud possession of the belt and the toilet.
You mean
seat.
his hemorrhoid fucking seat?
That's right.
Jeez, all the Sonic the Hedgehog ring, whatever you want to call it. Actually, did you guys catch the promo on the pre-show with
it was on
Powerhouse
the regular
Hobbs?
show too. We caught it once together. We caught it. Well, you and I caught it twice together. All three of us caught it once together.
Why I'm saying that, because on the pre-show, ironically, he was talking to whoever that guy was. Who was that guy that was hosting the pre-show with Renee?
There was no one there. He was talking to himself.
Anyway.
It was RJ City.
Okay. Oh, yeah, RJ. That's it. Whatever he was doing, he was acting pretty gay, like legitly gay. And he's like, what do you think?
Well, I think he is.
Oh, is he? Well, Hobbs answers, he goes, it's pretty big, isn't it? Right? And he's looking, he's like, that is pretty big. And he's like,
oh, you remember that when he's going, can I touch it? And he's
yeah, can I touch it? Like, fucking really? You're going to have one of your star guys sit there and play up this gay shit? Oh, come on.
Yeah, listen, I don't think that RJ City was particularly funny. I don't know who he was trying to be. He wasn't trying to be Sam Roberts. He wasn't trying to be Peter Rosenberg. He was trying to be his own kind of cartoonish, but it just seemed amateurish. And I don't think enough people know who he is to, like, you know, for the fan base to be like, oh, I love when he does this. So I thought that fell flat. And he actually looked old. Like, he looked like old and young at the same time. Like, he had gray hair and all. I don't know. I wasn't digging this shit. Not because of the vibes. Yeah, but I thought that those jokes were like DX 98
worse than that, even
23
dude.
Kind of, you know, sort of like, you know, toilet humor kind of thing, like Beavis and Butthead jokes.
I used to like Beavis and Butthead, but this shit right here was not funny.
In 1997.
Fair, that's true.
You were also 16.
I was. That's actually good math there, Jeff.
Right.
I was 16.
When you're 16, you're supposed to like sophomore jokes because you're a sophomore. I mean,
I know, you're right. That's true. That's it. That's how you do it. One of us need to face this way. Oops, there goes my stuff. But anyway, anyway, let's move on from that matchup. We're still on the women's championship match. The Moxley and yeah. Hangman wins though, like I said, by submission by hanging Moxley over the ropes with a chain. Who really Moxley hanged himself. But this gets even better though, guys, because next it's an AEW TNT Championship. It is Samoa Joe, your champion, versus Wardlow. Now, let me just say, going into this match, we all knew that Joe was losing. But what is Wardlow dumb or stupid? Or both? Because who told him? Yeah, well, that's true. Who told this guy? And I hope it wasn't him, because they make him look dumber and dumber every time. So basically, he's upset with Joe because he said, and I quote, "How dare you, Joe? You knew that I had an emotional attachment to my hair. So now you want to kill Joe because he cut your hair. But as he was saying that, they showed pictures of him as a kid
You were supposed
with
to be
his daddy.
quoting, and I'm sure that wasn't the right quote.
He did say he had an emotional attachment to his hair. Look, I'm not saying it's exactly what he said, but he did say, and this is what he meant, to his hair. He had an emotional attachment to his hair, and he's angry, so he's going to fuck Joe up for it.
He
And I tell you what
legitimately
my
said,
favorite part of what he said was, he
What?
said, I never imagined that anybody could stoop to depths so low.
I mean, come
there's
on, man.
Hair versus hair matches. There was a character called Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and he didn't invent that gimmick. I mean, cutting hair is like wrestling 101. He never imagined that. He doesn't have much imagination. And by the way, he's still shaving 3/4 of his head.
also, following up the match where there was barbed wire everywhere and everybody got ripped open and there was blood just pouring out of both people's heads. And then to have Wardlow go, I can't believe Joe would take it so far as to cut my hair off.
up my ass.
What are you fucking talking about, you
Got hung with a chain.
Oh my god.
He cut my man bun.
I'm done with this guy.
It's like, dude,
I'm
you're
literally
27,
done.
it'll grow back.
I am legitly. I was a fan of this guy, but I
Literally
can't. I just
commit
can't.
to doing nothing with your hair, it'll grow back.
But who the fuck? But who says that for a promo, man? Like, I've never heard that before in my life.
They came up with a stupid story and they're sticking with it.
Stupid story and sticking with it. I mean, come on, man, get your shit together.
I
AEW.
feel like maybe TK was one of those kids who like didn't get his hair cut for a really long time. And then
100%.
he's still kind of
100%.
fucked up from when his daddy first took him and was like, Tony, you are getting your haircut now.
Tony,
like
you kick my dog so you're getting a head cut.
He's just a variation on Jake Hager. I like this hat. He's like, I like my hair.
Fuck, and he loves his coke too, it seems. But I just don't understand. Either Wardlow is a big for nothing goof, right? Legitimately, where he's too scared to speak up, right? Or he's one dumb cunt. Straight up. Can we just call him Brutus the Barber Wardlow at this point?
No, Brutus is the legend.
I know, I love Brutus.
Stop playing music. You're just looking for excuses.
Brother
to play
Brutai.
music.
Well, hey, when it involves hair, I'm gonna fucking play it, Jeff.
Do you know whenever
Seriously.
you play the music and it shows up on the show, it's like hideously loud over our voices, and nobody can
Yeah,
hear
sometimes I
anything.
don't know why that happens. That's StreamYard
Well-
because it shouldn't be.
There's a good way to resolve that, and stop playing the music.
Well, it's been good lately, so if it lets me down, because it does sometimes. But anyway,
Nobody listens to me.
the point is, Chris's face. The point is, he's Brutus the Barber Wardlow now, man, and that's it. He's nothing. He's just a joke. He ain't winning shit, even though he won the TNT Championship. I don't even know why. He's colder than ever, and he's just plain old Jane. So
He should
get
have cut
fucked,
Joe's
Wardlow.
hair. I mean, that's what he should. He should have taken out a electric razor and like cut like straight down the middle, so Joe couldn't even do a cool mohawk like he did for that 1 year or so.
First of all, Jeff, Samoa Joe didn't really have much hair this
That'll
time. He was
teach
pretty
him.
short. Yeah.
I know. Which
But
it
still.
really shouldn't bother him to have it shaved.
Well, instead of him bringing, say, clippers, can we get actual clippers where they shave it off? You know what I mean? You should have just
That's what I
brought that.
said. You should have an electric razor.
Right, electric razor and just shave it all off. That's it. From now on, come this Wednesday, I want to see Wardlow in a whole new fucking gimmick. He's got to be the hairdresser. They should just call him the hairdresser.
So you think
No.
the book of Hobbs is going to involve Hobbs getting a bad haircut?
I can see that.
Weird
I don't know why I
diary.
like hearing that. Yeah.
Today I tried a new barber shop. Wardlow sucks.
I don't know why
shit.
that sounds fucking amusing to me, man. Seriously. Frank says in the chat the only match Mox will lose is a first blood match. Yeah, that's true. And obviously, we've got a new gimmick in the hairdresser. Not Brutus the Barber, just the hairdresser, Wardlow. That's it. Is there anything more to report on this match? Well, I think we all hated it. We don't even want to say much.
Yeah, this match was nothing. This was for a match with Samoa Joe. This was a nothing match.
Yep.
I agree. Well, let's move on from that barber shit. And hopefully we get something good. But we don't, boys, because We get the Ass Boys in Austin and Colton Gunn, who are your champions, versus Danhausen and Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus the Acclaimed in Anthony Bowens and Max Caster for your AEW World Tag Team Championships. This is another one I initially got wrong, but I knew I was probably going to fuck it up. But anywho, your Ass Boys retain your championships, and I'll get to what happens post-match, which is also pretty predictable, and I believe I called it. I said it, FTR is going to come out, and it's exactly what happened, but we'll get to that part. Chris, what do you think of this match? Was it a clusterfuck, or was it much better than we watched?
No, it was a clusterfuck, but it's what you expect at this point from AEW. Very early on in the match, there was some cheating going on where people were staying in the ring and nobody was tagging in and out. The announcer said, of course it's a 4-way match, so there's no disqualification. If there's no disqualification, then both me and my tag team partner are staying in the ring. Go fuck yourself. If there's no disqualification, then it's also a tables match and a chairs match and a sledgehammer match and a whatever the fuck else I choose to bring to the ring match. If it's a no disqualification match, my giant 8-foot Indian friend is going to be involved in the match right from the start. You're not going to have tags in and out. You're not going to have me pretending like I'm going to follow the rules. I'm taking my guitar and smashing you over the head with it. And if you happen to run away from me, my giant Indian friend is going to help me.
God, he looks like a giant goofball, to be honest, Chris.
No logic whatsoever, and this match would have been much better off just being a rematch from the last with the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys. It would have been much better off. You can have the Ass Boys cheat to win. They look like they're eating shit or whatever at the end, but they win with belt shots or whatever the fuck, and then you can do the FTR thing. You didn't have to have the big clusterfuck of this match, and it was just everybody everywhere doing everything, but none of it made sense because, again, if there's no fucking disqualification, then why wouldn't everybody just be in the match at all times?
Fair point. Jeff?
They went through a lot of effort to build this match in a short amount of time. First, you have the Acclaim invoke their rematch clause, which there aren't typically rematch clauses, or that's what we were led to believe.
I've noticed that in AEW.
Yeah. And that's when we learned it was a fatal 3-way, but we didn't know who the other 2 teams were. So it turned into a 4-way, but we still didn't know who the actual challengers in the 3-way were. So then we learned it was going to be through a tag team battle royal, which then we later on learned there was going to be a second battle royal, a casino battle royal. So they went through a lot of stuff. And a lot of booking and, these gimmick matches, which, weren't particularly well received, but they're battle royals. So, I like them. But you went through a lot of trouble to put people in this match. You have, you have one team coming up with Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt. You have another with Billy Gunn. The best friends didn't get involved. You have a 7'3" giant. You have Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh wearing turbans for no apparent reason. You'd think in a no DQ, because they don't normally wear them, it wasn't a new fashion idea. It would be to hide weapons. You have the Golden Globe, which is something I keep forgetting exists.
No, was it the Golden Globe? It was. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the one from the dude from I can't remember what.
Cobra Kai.
Okay, yeah.
Hausen.
They haven't. Yeah, the guy who's
Hauser,
disappeared, but they still have his Golden Globe. It's like he doesn't want it back. I mean, you think he'd hire a counter lawyer or something. Anyway, Chris is right. I mean, and Satnam Singh, the only reason is there is to do a stupid-ass comedy spot with Danhausen, which turns into a stupid-ass comedy spot involving Orange Cassidy as well. I mean, yeah, this match was completely overbooked. It was all over the place. It wasn't particularly entertaining. The whole reason for Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett in there were to general it, but they really didn't. Or if they did, and they did the best they could, wow. I mean, there were a lot of moving parts for nothing to happen, for basically a team to retain. And as soon as you saw that the best friends weren't cleared just because a week before they took pipe shots to the head, but Danhausen, who took a cast shot to the head that night, and Orange Cassidy, who was in a brutal match where he has ice on his ribs, they're both cleared, but the other guys can't. I mean, you knew Danhausen was there just to take the pin. And on Hammerlock Hangover, for anyone who listens to both, I did pick the Acclaim that this was going to correct their wrong, and then I'm like, but Danhausen is a face, so it's going to stay with the Guns, and it's too soon to change these titles. They're not the trios titles, and so on Uncaged, before I was on the record as getting this one right. So, I take no pride in it. This was a clusterfuck, and again, this we've seen this kind of clusterfuck with Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. This is like their fourth tag team title shot in like 5 weeks, maybe less. I mean, I think they had like 2 in 3 days. I don't know. This could have been on Rampage, could have been on Dynamite.
Oh, definitely Rampage.
I agree with Chris. It should have just been team on team, and then FTR could have come out for the big reveal, and somehow Dax Harwood got busted open hard way. Basically his first action in a month and a half or more, and somehow some scar still opened up, or somebody hit him too hard. I don't know, whatever it was, but I thought this match was a annoying waste of time.
Well, speaking of FTR, because post-match, the Ass Boys are interviewed in the ring, and Colton asks, who's an Ass Boy now? Well, let's be honest, them two are pretty much still Ass Boys. Austin claims they're the best tag team in the world, but then as soon as they mention that, we hear the music, and FTR are back. They hit the ring and lay them out with a shatter machine. Dax is bleeding for some reason. We don't even know when or where that happened. And then they pick up the AEW World Tag Team Championship title belts and hold them up high, pretty much proclaiming to become your future AEW World Tag Team Champions. I'm going to say this. Cash Wheeler looked much better right now in shape. He looks much better in shape. Dax Hardwood looks fucking like Dax Hardwood. And are you guys happy that they're back? I mean, they really needed someone like an FTR to save this damn tag team division. Right, Chris?
I mean, yeah, we've been saying for a little while now that the trios titles have sort of weakened the tag division, which at one point...
They really have.
Which at one point I would have said was one of the major strengths of AEW as a company, the tag team division. So FTR coming back is going to be good for the tag team division. Is it going to be good for FTR? To be honest with you, I feel almost bad that they're back. Just because I feel like this company is having such a hard time booking anything properly. And these are guys who, kind of openly came out and sided with CM Punk and a lot of the stuff that was going on. And in case you didn't notice from the results on tonight, that's not really the way the company sees how things went. So,
or do they? I mean, the Elite lost.
Yeah, but every other situation was the young guys going over the former WWE, the former WWE guys.
Except for the House of Black. There's former WWE guys that actually went over AEW
originals. That's what he said when he said every other.
Right, exactly. No, you're right. Spot
on. But yeah, so I love FTR. Like when we've done the end of year awards, I think 4 years in a row now, Jimmy, or 3. I think if we do one again this year, it'll be 4 years in a row where I say I think FTR are the tag team of the year. So you can tell I think they're the best tag team in wrestling. So yeah, I'm excited to see them back. Am I excited to see them in this particular feud? No, but seeing them on my TV weekly will be better than not seeing them on my TV weekly.
Well, I'll give you a little fun fact that I'm sure you don't give a shit about, but I'll say it anyway. Did you know I've got a soft spot now for Dax Hardwood because he's married to a Greek chick. I actually didn't know that.
You're right. I don't care.
I wanted to mention it. So good on Dax Hardwood. He knows what he's doing, or doesn't, because they're pretty fierce. But anyway, let's move on from that. I would have rather him in WWE personally at this point, but whatever.
I mean, everyone's reading this reappearance, meaning that they've re-signed, which it may be.
Oh,
but
come on. It's safe to say they would be.
I mean, it could just be that they're finishing out doing this program. I mean, yeah, I think it probably nods to that, but it's not a guarantee. I mean,
nothing's a guarantee, but I'll be surprised.
You go out doing the honors. I mean, so I wouldn't read, I wouldn't read too much into Kenny's body language. I wouldn't read too much into
his body language was off, though. You got to admit that.
No, I don't. All I have to admit is that you kept saying it was.
It felt like it seemed like it to me, man. I don't know.
I'm not a student of Kenny, but I've never found his body language to be particularly interesting one way or another. Anyway, I'm just saying that you can't read too much from anything, and this might be what TK wanted you to. I mean, he probably offered them a lot of money. Maybe they said, "We're feeling better, so yeah, why don't you come in and we'll put you over, and even if you want to leave, you're gonna leave ending strong. But if you do decide to leave, you'll put over the boys, and I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if they re-sign or already have signed an extension. But until we get it from a credible source, I wouldn't read too much into. I mean, wrestlers do this all the time. They come in, they make an entrance, they make a show. That doesn't mean they always win. I mean, if that was the case, Lance Archer would be your 5-time AEW champion already.
No, he wouldn't. He's taller than 6'2", Jeff. You know what?
Yeah, but this is what he does. He comes in, he beats someone up from behind and says, "I want your title," and gets a title shot and loses every one.
This should be called the Micro Wrestling League. I believe there was a Micro Wrestling League at one stage. But anyway, yeah, look, it is what it is. As far as FTR goes, though, I will say the source is the source because I've listened to Dax Hardwood's podcast here and there. Yes, I know, shoot me now. But he mentions that their contracts are originally up in April.
Right.
So we do have pretty much a month between now and if the reports are all true, between their contracts expiring, if they haven't re-signed already, which I'm leaning towards that they have, but we'll see. Frank says Danhausen was the best part of the match. He could possibly be right, guys. He kind of entertained me for what it was.
He's Danhausen.
But it's Danhausen, right? I mean, shit. I mean, look at Chris. He's happy.
He was the best part of a clusterfuck. I'll actually
there you
give him
go.
that.
Well, yeah, he's got a point. It's true. Anyway, let's mute, Jeff. Mute. Anywho, let's move on to the main event ski. It is a 60-minute fucking Iron Man match. Actually, can we call this maybe a 70-minute, 80-minute Iron Man match between the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman for your AEW World Championship. MJF is your champion. Now, this match it was good for what it was. These two were probably the best in the company when it comes to ring psychology. And I'm not even the biggest fan of Danielson's psychology at times, to be honest, right? But I think MJF is possibly the best in the company when it comes to that in terms of in-ring, because he has to. I mean, he's not that good in the ring per se, so he makes up with it with all the psychology and all the hoorah that he does around the ring. But we had a lot of starts and stops, which is fair enough. It is a 60-minute Iron Man match. But did it feel like the match went way too long? Chris?
No, because it was an Iron Man match. I was expecting it to go the full 60 minutes and then probably do overtime, because what's more exciting than overtime? What's more exciting than sudden death? I know as a hockey fan, that's kind of,
That's different, though. That's better, more exciting.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I mean, that's a thing that you understand as a hockey fan, right? Like, sudden death is exciting because next goal wins. That's it. I liked the match. I thought that they put on a pretty good match. It wasn't spectacular, but very rarely is a full 60-minute Iron Man match what you would consider spectacular. There was a good spot there where MJF cheated, hit the low blow, and then covered Danielson twice so that he kind of gave up one to get two, kind of thing. Apparently the live crowd didn't really see that happen. Didn't really know that had happened, and I wasn't sure until they put the graphic up, to be honest, because Bryce Remsburg sucks.
Fuck a worst referee, bro. Him and Aubrey Edwards should get fucked.
They're just not good. Yeah, the match itself was good. I thought that the finish wasn't great. We can get into the finish after if you want, but the match was fine. And I've seen MJF put on a really good show before in the ring. When I went to Full Gear last year in Minneapolis, he had a match against Darby Allin that was the best match on the card. and it was a good wrestling match between two guys who were trading pin attempts. So, yeah, this was a good match. But I've said it before. I think that Bryan Danielson could probably have a good match with any one of the three of us, and none of us are trained professional wrestlers.
That I agree with 100%, Chris. Jeff, I called this. You cringed about it when I said it.
I'm still mad at you.
I'm mad at myself. But unfortunately, it's just this company. We know it too well at this stage, Jeff. I think all of us, you knew deep down in your heart of hearts that could have possibly happened. Come on.
Listen, I don't want to get things. I don't want to send mixed signals. I actually thought this match was really good. Now, I don't want to see a 60-minute match, so I was really not interested in seeing that. But it was actually really good. I thought that this was probably the only match that had consistent psychology through it. They used gimmicks. Yes, MJF has done that before. He did it with CM Punk, where he got a disqualification to get the upper hand, and it worked for him then. But just because it was done before doesn't make it not clever. I mean, if you've ever watched the John Wick movie, he uses the same moves over and over again to kill someone. So why wouldn't he use the same trick again? So fine. It's just, it wasn't the first time. And I said, oh, that's clever. But yeah, it's not just that the live crowd didn't know what was happening because commentary didn't say it. It's also that they messed the score up on the Jumbotron where they put 2 on Bryan Danielson's face and 0 on MJF. So after MJF clearly just got 2 pinfalls in a row, it looked like Bryan was ahead 2-0. So if you were there in the crowd wondering what was going on, you probably just thought they got it backwards, that it was 2-0 the other way. So that was adding to the confusion. But anyway, that's a problem of production. They should have probably put wording on the Jumbotron if they weren't going to have commentary in the building to clarify it. And there was a delay on commentary. They weren't sure either. I mean, they were probably only 6 or 7 seconds behind, but that's a lot.
Bad acting, bro. I think they knew.
Now, the ending, as you said, you thought it was going to be a tie, and you're like, well, what happens? I'm like, well, it's a draw. The champion retains. And you're like, well, he can't end it like that. And we discussed it. We said, yeah, you're probably right. Tony Khan will come out, or someone will say Tony Khan said, that's not how we do things in AEW. It's not going to end like this, and there must be a winner. And that's exactly what happened. And then I thought there was a really clever ending, because when the medics were out there, we saw these silver containers for oxygen or nitrous gas or whatever it was that they were using. And we don't normally see that. So we're like, yeah, this is like a video game. Everything in the room needs to be used, for escape room or for a tool. And in fact, it came into play, and we're like, oh, that's great. There it is. Because they did the thing with the diamond ring and the belt.
We're calling every spot funny enough. And that's exactly what happened. Other than the brass knucks, right? Everything else we actually were saying, okay, if this is not going to happen, then that's going to happen.
Right.
But it makes the doctors or the medics look so incompetent, though, Jeff. That's the only thing that's annoying.
You started the match. They already got the oxygen. They used it. They left it there. They forgot it. Whatever. Anyway, so there was a good spot. The MJF took the canister. The ref isn't there. Bryan Danielson is coming over to the ring apron. He's gonna grab MJF and pull him back into the ring. And MJF just goes like this, with overhand holding the metal canister. Clang! Hits Bryan right in the head, knocks him out. That should have been the 1, 2, 3. Perfectly good end, the end. But no, they have to overdo things.
I couldn't believe that.
So MJF has to go for it. He has to, take Bryan out with his own move, the label lock, which is stupid because you just knocked him out with a metal container. So you're not really embarrassing them any. So, of course, at this point, I'm hoping the Bree's going to come out or something like that. But, and then, of course, Bryan has his hero's journey where he's making it look like it's not gonna end. He's gonna get out of it, and I'm like, oh no, God no! And Bryan must have heard me and had mercy, because all of a sudden, like his spurt was over, and then he does the most whimperish little tap ever, tapped out like. So it was almost like the exploding barbed wire death match end, where it was like the explosion with a fizzle. This was like the most anticlimactic end to a climactic match, to an epic match. And just the end was bad. I would have just preferred clanging him in the head, cheating, 1, 2, 3, the end.
Right. Exactly. He's a heel. That's what he's meant to fucking do, right?
They always have to do like 1, 2, or 3 too many things, and if you go through the all of the matches, it's probably equals like 17 too many things during the course of this match. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but for an hour-long match, it was enjoyable. For an 80-minute match or 75-minute match, it was enjoyable. I just thought the end didn't kill it, but it impeached it. It took away from it.
It did impeach it. 100% impeached it. And it's funny because I actually forgot for a moment that when what's it called, MJF hit Danielson with the canister, I actually thought in my own head now, like thinking back on it, that was the finish. But you're right, he had to do the fucking label lock. And what's the obsession with AEW and having to do all this bullshit and then the finish? Like when, in this case, and in a lot of these matches, it's the same shit. They don't understand sometimes less is more. You don't have to go to those extremes, right, Chris? I mean,
I mean, that's what the term overbooked means. You had too many things happening and it wasn't necessary. And I mean, listen, MJF hitting him with the canister and then putting him in the label lock, that even makes sense. Because, I mean, MJF is an asshole. Of course, he's going to want to win with the other guy's move, right? Then he can say, I didn't just beat you. I beat you with your own move.
And that's what he's going to say come Dynamite, 100%.
Yeah, well, but usually the heels are allowed to lie, right? Or embellish the truth. And MJF knocking him out cold with that fucking thing, locking in the label lock, and then the referee going, he's out, ring the bell, match is over, MJF wins. That still makes sense. Yeah. What doesn't make sense is, arm up 1, arm up 2, arm up. No, Danielson's still in it. Danielson fights his way out. He's getting the crowd to chant, yes, yes, yes. And then he just sinks back to the mat and taps out. That's the most fucked up end I've maybe ever seen to a match like this. Just like everything about it was wrong.
100%. And Frank says in the chat, Jeff Lippman just nailed it. That was the shit. It dragged on and on and on with the worst payoff. Right. I mean, we're in 2023. Let's be real.
Hi, Frank. I want to be like Chris.
Let's be honest, though, guys. In 2023, and I can see that most wrestling companies get this. People don't have the attention span to watch a fucking 60-minute, 80-minute, 90-minute fucking Iron Man match, all right? I think it was just unnecessarily too long. I mean, it should have been a 30-minute Iron Man match. That's what we usually get these days, don't we not?
I don't even like Broadway's on Broadway.
That's a good point. There was a lot of dusty finishes too, man. Like, that's another thing I noticed when it came to this pay-per-view. A lot of blood, a lot of dusties. But because we've hit it home...
we had one heel turn, a couple title changes. FTR's a return, but... no Kota Ibushi, no Jay White, no big free agent.
Don't worry, they do that for free, Jeff. That's what they do here at AEW. Yeah, that ain't.
I know, but usually you get one big surprise here, and I don't think that Ruby turning heel was a big surprise. It was a 50-50 proposition at worst. FTR coming back, was a bit of a surprise, but you've been predicting. Other people have been predicting it for weeks.
Thank you for giving me my props, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I mean, listen, I'm okay with them not trying to bring in everyone under the sun. It's just, I was like, you think they'll have Miro standing out there, or Andrade, someone that hasn't been used, that's a star, that if people are going to take some time off, maybe not even that. And, after an 85-minute match, I pretty much okay with it, but I don't know. I just felt like this whole thing, the ending was wrong, and the whole thing sort of... I didn't want more. I just felt like it needed an explanation point at the end, and we got dot, not even dot.
Exclamation, Jeff.
Yeah, exclamation, exactly.
I am sorry, I can't speak. It's
almost 2 a.m.
It is fucking late, and we're going to end it right now because it's 6 p.m. my time nearly, so shit, this is, later than usual for all three of us.
Salad.
I'm hungry, I'm not going to lie. Frank says the best 60-minute match with no blood was Sting and Flair at the first Clash, and I believe that was a draw, if I remember, if memory serves me right. That was a great fucking 60-minute Iron Man match at the time, 100%. That was the beginning of Sting's rise as a main event player, as a matter of fact. Flair really put him over, even though he didn't win that time, he really fucking put him over and established Sting as your future star.
Well, despite MJF using every trick in the book, this was the whole thing was MJF. You don't have the stamina to go 60 minutes. Well, he went longer than 60 minutes. So this was the MJF. This is the MJF get respect. I mean, everyone wanted him to get the title, but ever since he's had the title, everyone's been like, this isn't so good. His promos are meandering. His character's changed in strange and odd ways. He's like the victim now instead of the snobby, cocky guy. It's been weird, but so this match, I guess, maybe puts him back on the right track. I don't know. Whatever. You know what?
We'll see.
You were making the show go home, and I shouldn't stop that.
Unless you want to say more. I mean,
no, I really don't.
Be my guest. Well, in saying that, you're right, Jeff. We should take it home. So, in saying that, Chris, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Chris Ambs1. You can hear me talk about pro wrestling, politics, and just whatever comes to my mind at the time. You can find me on all kinds of things on the PWC. I do the Wednesday night skirmish with Jimmy. Mostly that's what I do on the PWC. You can find me on a couple different shows on HMG and Channel Attitude. Yeah, I'm awesome, and you can hear me podcasting. So that's where you can find me.
Very cool. Jeff, tell them where they can find you.
Pretty soon you can find me sleeping. Other than that, if you are listening to this show and you haven't already listened to other PWC shows, listen to further ones where I actually have energy to tell you where to find me. Otherwise, if you've already been listening to PWC shows, you've heard me tell you where you can find me at least 6 other times this week.
Wow.
So
it's a miracle.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. What the hell? What's wrong with you, Jeff?
Jeff Lippman just gave up a chance to get himself over.
I can't believe it.
He's sleepy now.
He's sleepy now. Well, in saying that, if you want to follow me, you can at DJ Mass Effects, and you can also follow us at the PWC Network. Please like and subscribe right here at the pwcnetwork.podbean.com, where you can find all our shows. Also, right here on channelattitude.com, where you can find this show also. And for $5, you can find us talk WWE and AEW right there at channelattitude.com. And last but not least, also like and subscribe at HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can find all our affiliate shows, including Jeff's. And in saying that, I'm Jimmy T, that's Chris Ambs, that's Evil Dose Jeff Lippman, and you've been listening and watching the PWC HMG AEW Revolution post-game show right here on the PWC Network and now on channelattitude.com. And we're out. See yous.
Olay!
Evil dreams, my friends.
Olay. Exactly. I can't even do it. See yous.